The prestigious Emerald Courts of Wimbledon have always represented the absolute pinnacle of British summer tradition, where high society fashion meets intense sporting drama. For decades, the historic tournament at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club has seen royalty and celebrities gather in the exclusive Royal Box on center court, showcasing timeless elegance under the soft London sun. However, beneath the pristine white uniforms and the meticulously manicured grass lies a strictly enforced environment governed by a series of rigid traditions and uncompromising rules that date back generations. This unique combination of athletic precision and aristocratic decorum creates an atmosphere where even the slightest deviation from standard protocol can spark a nationwide conversation. Every summer, as the global spotlight turns to southwest London, the public eagerly watches not just the baseline battles of the world top athletes, but also the subtle interactions taking place within the coveted seats of the Royal Box. It is an arena where ancient traditions meet modern scrutiny, and where every wardrobe choice or spontaneous gesture is carefully analyzed by dedicated royal enthusiasts and fashion critics alike. To understand the true weight of what unfolded during this latest tournament, one must first appreciate the delicate balance that the British royal family must maintain when appearing at such iconic public events. They are expected to embody an image of flawless poise and historical continuity, navigating the strict expectations of the British public, while remaining completely relatable in an era defined by instant digital communication. This delicate balance was put to the ultimate test during the sweltering days of the championships, when a massive heatwave swept across the United Kingdom, turning the historic sporting venue into a veritable furnace. As the thermometers rose to unprecedented levels, the traditional defenses of standard royal attire and aristocratic stoicism began to melt away, creating an unexpected challenge for the senior members of the institution who were in attendance. If you want to stay updated on how the House of Windsor navigates these challenging public moments and to ensure you never miss any exclusive insights, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now to join our growing community of royal watchers. The intense summer heatwave that gripped London during the legendary tennis tournament presented a unique dilemma for the distinguished guests, who are required to look immaculate regardless of the soaring mercury. While ordinary spectators in the general stands could easily opt for casual shorts, linen shirts, and wide-brimmed sun hats, those seated within the historic Royal Box were bound by a strict dress code that completely forbids women from wearing any headwear or garments that fall above the knee. This strict rule is designed to ensure that no spectator obstructs the view of those sitting behind them, while maintaining the traditional aesthetic standards that have come to define the legendary tournament over the past century. Consequently, the royal women are forced to endure the intense rays of the summer sun without the comfort of protective hats or breezy casual wear, relying entirely on their inner resilience and traditional cooling methods. It was precisely within this high-pressure and high-temperature environment that a fascinating series of events unfolded, capturing the imagination of social media users and royal fans across the globe. The public fascination with how the royal family handles the physical demands of long public engagements during extreme weather conditions has always been a source of intense interest. The historical expectation has always been that a royal must never show signs of physical discomfort, remaining perfectly composed even when dressed in heavy formal layers under a scorching midsummer sun. Yet, as the atmospheric conditions reached a critical point, the sheer necessity for physical relief began to override the unspoken rules of silent endurance, leading to a moment of unexpected human vulnerability that resonated deeply with observers. This compelling mixture of historic grandeur, strict institutional rules, and sudden relatable humanity set the stage for an unforgettable afternoon on center court, where tradition and modern practicality collided in full view of the international television cameras. As the crowd watched the gripping matches unfold, the real drama began to shift toward the prime positions of the Royal Box, where senior family members were attempting to manage the physical strain of the midday heat. The contrast between the rigid traditions of the past and the immediate practical needs of the present created a mounting tension that kept viewers glued to their screens, waiting to see how the situation would resolve itself. Every subtle shift in posture, every brief conversation with court officials, and every attempt to find shade became a matter of intense observation, hinting at a deeper story of personal endurance and institutional protocol playing out in the public eye. The atmosphere grew increasingly thick as the afternoon progressed, with the sweltering temperatures challenging the centuries-old decorum that has traditionally shielded the monarchy from the mundane realities of everyday physical discomfort. It was a vivid reminder that despite their elevated status and historical roles, the members of the royal family are ultimately bound by the same physical limitations as the thousands of ordinary tennis fans who had gathered to witness the historic sporting spectacle. The escalating crisis of the British summer heatwave reached its absolute peak on the 10th day of the prestigious championships, with temperatures hitting a sweltering 32 degrees Celsius. Sitting front and center in the iconic royal box on center court was Queen Camilla, who had arrived alongside her younger sister Annabelle Elliot to take in the thrilling tennis action. For this high-profile occasion, Her Majesty had chosen a beautiful cerulean Anna Valentine dress, which sharp-eyed fashion commentators immediately recognized as the exact same ensemble she had worn to the Royal Ascot races just 1 month prior. This deliberate choice of wardrobe repetition highlighted a growing trend of sustainable fashion within the modern monarchy, but the heavy fabric of the elegant garment offered very little relief as the sun beat down mercilessly upon the open-air stadium. As the hot afternoon progressed, the sweltering conditions began to take an obvious toll, and the initial traditional methods of cooling down proved entirely inadequate for the 78-year-old monarch. Observers noticed that the Queen initially attempted to manage the rising heat by using a traditional classic handheld folding fan, waving it gracefully in a bid to create a gentle breeze while maintaining her customary royal composure. However, as the heat intensified into a shimmering haze over the pristine grass court, the slow manual rhythmic waving of the traditional paper fan was simply not enough to combat the oppressive atmosphere. It was at this critical moment of visible discomfort that Queen Camilla decided to set aside traditional royal protocol and reached into her bag to pull out a highly modern and surprisingly practical electronic solution. To the absolute delight and amusement of thousands of avid royal fans watching the live broadcast, the Queen unveiled a compact battery-powered handheld electric fan, using it directly to cool her face and neck in full view of the international television cameras. The sudden appearance of this modern plastic gadget amidst the historic luxury of the royal box immediately sparked a massive wave of commentary across global social media platforms as viewers rushed to identify the exact device. Digital tracking quickly revealed a fascinating detail that completely upended the public expectation of royal extravagance, as the label on the back of the device confirmed it was a highly budget-friendly TechNet handheld fan. This specific model, which features 5 distinct speed settings for a refreshing customized breeze, was discovered to be readily available on the Amazon marketplace for the remarkably accessible price of just £14.24. The realization that the Queen of the United Kingdom was using a cheap mass-market electronic tool to survive the summer heat sent shockwaves of relatability through social media, where users praised her practical approach to the problem. One prominent user on the platform, formerly known as Twitter, expressed immense sympathy, stating that Her Majesty was clearly struggling in the oppressive heat and blessed her for finding a real solution, while another remarked that they would have brought multiple fans to survive such conditions. A third commentator noted with a touch of humor that Queen Camilla was perfectly representing the exact daily struggles of women over 60, who find it increasingly difficult to tolerate extreme temperature spikes during the peak of summer. The widespread online discussion quickly shifted into a broader debate regarding the strict regulations of the All England Club, with many noting how unfortunate it was that the historic dress code completely prevents women from wearing protective sun hats in the premier seating areas. Despite the intense physical challenge presented by the scorching midday sun, Queen Camilla maintained an incredibly warm and generous disposition throughout the afternoon, demonstrating her deep commitment to her public duties. Before taking her seat to watch the matches, she took ample time to engage with a wide variety of staff members, officials, and young athletes who make the annual tournament possible. She shared a wonderfully warm greeting, with former British #1 tennis star Heather Watson chatting amiably about the progression of the championships and the intense pressures faced by modern competitors on the grass. The Queen also dedicated special attention to the younger generation of the sport, speaking at length with 15-year-old ball girl Ania and 15-year-old ball boy Zebedee, who had been working tirelessly in the heat to keep the matches running smoothly. Her Majesty expressed deep gratitude for their hard work and precision, acknowledging that running across the hot courts under the direct sun required immense physical endurance and dedication. In addition to the young athletes, Camilla celebrated the long-serving institutional figures of the tournament, holding an animated conversation with Morag Ranford, who had achieved an incredible milestone of spending 50 years working within the complex press operations team. She also shared a heartfelt moment with Peter Dobson, the dedicated safety officer who was officially retiring at the conclusion of this year's championships after 25 years of ensuring the security and well-being of millions of visitors. This series of interactions highlighted the Queen's innate ability to make every individual feel valued regardless of their rank or role, balancing the grand scale of the royal family with genuine personal connection. The atmosphere inside the royal box was further elevated by the presence of other notable family members who added their own unique dynamic to the afternoon proceedings. Sitting nearby was Princess Anne's son, Peter Phillips, who looked exceptionally dapper in a sophisticated light gray blazer paired with sharp navy trousers. Beside him was his new wife, Harriet Phillips, who made a striking fashion statement of her own by donning a stunning lime and blue-checked ensemble designed by Amelia Wickstead, valued at an impressive £1,330. The contrast between Harriet's luxury designer garment and the Queen 14-pound electronic fan perfectly illustrated the fascinating blend of high-end aristocracy and everyday practicality that defines the modern House of Windsor. Meanwhile, the athletic excitement of the day reached a crescendo when young British tennis hopeful Arthur Ferry received the ultimate surprise of his career just moments before stepping onto the historic court. The breakout star was standing in the quiet player's entrance corridor, focused intently on tying his shoelaces alongside his formidable opponent, Flavio Cobolli, as they prepared for the biggest match of their lives. Suddenly, Queen Camilla walked up quietly from behind the athletes, catching the young Brit completely off guard as he stood up and turned around to face the monarch. Showing incredible grace, the Queen reached out to shake his hand, offering a personal royal blessing and words of encouragement for his upcoming battle on center court. The stunned young athlete could be heard softly saying that it was an absolute honor and nice to meet you, as the reality of the royal interaction set in before his massive match. This extraordinary encounter underscored how the tournament bridges the gap between ancient royal tradition and the raw unfolding ambition of the next generation of sports stars, making for an unforgettable afternoon where every single moment was charged with a unique mixture of prestige, tension, and unexpected human connection. The fascinating convergence of modern convenience and age-old tradition witnessed at the tennis championships is part of a much broader and highly revealing pattern of behavior currently defining the contemporary British monarchy. This memorable afternoon on center court was not an isolated incident of a senior royal turning to affordable consumer electronics to survive the increasingly volatile British summer weather. Just a few weeks prior, during the absolute hottest recorded day of June, His Majesty King Charles III was spotted navigating an equally challenging climate during an official evening reception hosted inside the historic walls of St. James's Palace. The historic palace, which serves as the ceremonial anchor of the royal court, was originally constructed during the 16th century under the reign of King Henry VIII, and like many of the country's ancient royal residences, it completely lacks modern central air conditioning systems. Dressed in a formal, heavy tailored wool suit and surrounded by hundreds of distinguished guests, the king found himself facing a sweltering indoor temperature that rapidly climbed toward a sizzling 35 degrees Celsius. In a moment that mirrored his wife's subsequent experience at Wimbledon, the monarch relied directly on his senior royal aide, Vice Admiral Sir Tony Johnstone-Burt, who was seen faithfully holding a portable battery-powered electric fan just inches from the king face to prevent him from breaking out into a visible sweat while mingling with the crowd. As the reception progressed and the stifling atmosphere inside the staterooms became nearly unbearable, the king was seen subtly dabbing his face with a handkerchief, a rare and candid display of physical vulnerability that underscored the very real human element operating beneath the grand mantle of state pageantry. These shared experiences of King Charles and Queen Camilla, using budget-friendly cooling gadgets, have sparked a wider conversation about the practical realities of managing a modern monarchy within centuries-old infrastructure that was never designed to withstand the intense climate shifts of the 21st century. This pragmatic approach to everyday discomfort offers a fascinating window into the evolving public image of Queen Camilla, whose journey into the heart of the British establishment remains one of the most remarkable narratives in modern royal history. Born into an aristocratic family with deep historical connections to the court, Camilla spent her formative childhood years deeply rooted in the picturesque countryside of East Sussex, an area that heavily shaped her character and enduring love for British heritage. She was raised at an expansive and beautiful 7-bedroom country estate known as The Lanes, located in the idyllic village of Plumpton, a property that she has fondly described in personal recollections as having been absolutely perfect in every single way. This deep-seated connection to the rural landscape and local communities has remained a central pillar of her public life and patronage work long after ascending to the throne alongside her husband. Her ongoing commitment to celebrating British culture, literature, and community resilience was vividly on display just days before her appearance at the tennis championships when she embarked on a highly sentimental visit to Ashdown Forest near Hartfield. This historic woodland holds an extraordinarily special place in the global literary imagination, serving as the direct geographical inspiration for the legendary 100-Acre Wood created by author A.A. Milne for his timeless Winnie the Pooh stories, which were first published exactly 100 years ago in 1926. Serving proudly as the dedicated patron of the Royal Literary Fund, Queen Camilla spent the morning braving the elements to speak with local well-wishers, environmental conservationists, and enthusiastic school children who had gathered to commemorate the historic literary centenary. She was joined for this special woodland celebration by the well-known television presenter and author Giles Brandreth, who delivered a captivating public reading from the classic text to the gathered crowds, highlighting the monarchy's enduring support for the arts and children literacy programs across the nation. Following her emotional engagement in the forest, the Queen chose to make a completely unannounced and spontaneous stop at a nearby local establishment called the Half Moon Pub, a traditional British tavern and campsite situated in the very heart of the village where she had spent her idyllic childhood. Her unexpected arrival sent a thrill of excitement through the local community as the 78-year-old monarch casually dropped in for lunch, displaying the exact same down-to-earth charm and approachable demeanor that has earned her widespread praise in recent years. The staff and patrons at the historic pub were absolutely delighted by her presence, later taking to social media to share photographs of the smiling queen dressed in a bottle green floral outfit alongside two hard-working team members. The establishment official online post described Her Majesty as a real character and an incredibly lovely lady, expressing immense pride at being able to welcome her back to her old home territory. Local residents and social media users quickly flooded the comment sections with warm expressions of admiration, with many noting how wonderful it was to see the Queen returning so comfortably to her geographical roots. One observer noted that they had spotted the royal helicopter landing in a nearby college field and wondered who the important guest might be, while another related a humorous story of being briefly stopped by a police motorcycle escort outside the tavern, only to realize that the queen herself was visiting the local neighborhood. This genuine grassroots affection highlights how successfully Queen Camilla has bridged the gap between the lofty heights of her official position and the everyday lives of ordinary citizens. By seamlessly transitioning from the grand traditions of the royal box at Wimbledon to the rustic charm of a village pub in East Sussex, she demonstrates a unique ability to navigate the complex demands of contemporary public life. Her willingness to use a 14-pound electronic fan in front of millions of television viewers or to chat informally with pub staff members reinforces a modern royal philosophy centered on authenticity, accessibility, and practical common sense. As the monarchy continues to evolve in response to a changing world, these moments of relatability serve to strengthen the vital bond between the crown and the public, ensuring that ancient institutions remain deeply relevant and respected in the modern era. The complete story of this summer season therefore becomes much more than a simple chronicle of sports attendance and weather updates. It stands as a vivid testament to a royal family that is thoroughly unafraid to embrace the practical realities of the present day while still honoring the deep historical traditions